Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Tuesday. We are looking at Last Stop on Market Street, Part C, Lesson 10.6. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, let's go ahead. We can say our morning greeting. I am kind. I am smart. I am loved. I am important. I believe in myself. I can do anything. Class mission statement. Our mission is to always help others, to try even when it's hard, to be kind to each other, and to be kind to ourselves. For question check-in, let's go ahead and make sure that those listening ears are turned on, eyes are on my screen. You can hold up cactus hands for me, show me that you're not holding any toys, pencils, markers, or anything that could distract you, and go ahead and wave good morning to each other. You can put your hands down and take a deep breath. Let that breath out. Are you going to give this lesson your absolute best? Give me 2 thumbs up. Perfect job, you guys. Remember that we are recording every lesson that we have here so that you can watch this recording and complete the credit at the end of the video. And don't forget about our classroom rules. Lesson goals, I can tell the theme of a story. I can use prepositions. I can practice my handwriting. Hello and welcome. In today's lesson, we are going to explore the theme of the story, Last Stop on Market Street. Before rereading Last Stop on Market Street, let's review some words to know. Lurch. Go ahead and say the word lurch. Great job, guys. Lurch means to make a sudden movement, usually in a forward direction, like we see in this picture, or like I lurch forward, I move forward suddenly. Something might lurch forward or side to side if something else bumps into it or if it's in some turmoil, like this boat is in the sea. You might lurch forward if you trip over something, or again, a boat might lurch when a wave hits it, like in this picture. If a wave hits this boat, it's definitely going to lurch to the side or forward. Maybe you've lurched in a car or a train or a plane before, whenever it makes a sudden stop or suddenly goes. All right, next is the word glance. Go ahead and say the word glance. Great job. Glance means to look at someone or something very quickly and then look away. People usually glance at something quickly because they're curious, but also want to return to what they're doing. People also might glance at something because they don't want others to see them looking at them. Here's an example. I heard a noise in the hallway and glanced up to see what it was. Then I returned to my book. So that shows someone glancing up really quickly and then looking back in the right direction. All right, next is the word witness. Go ahead and say the word witness. Fabulous. Witness means a person who sees something happening. Usually we use the word witness to describe someone outside of an event, such as someone who sees a crime or an accident. But anytime you see something, you are a witness. So let's take this sentence for an example. I know that my son spilled his milk this morning because I saw it happen. I was a witness. Okay? I want you to think of something that you've witnessed before and share it with your learning coach or your sibling. What is something that you have seen with your own eyes happening and have been a witness to? All right, it is time to reread our story. As we read, I'd like you to think about the lessons that CJ learns throughout the story. This is going to help us figure out the story's theme. All right, so think about the lessons that CJ learns. You can track the words with your finger and read along with me as I track it with my laser point. That way you're practicing your reading skills. Last Stop on Market Street. Words by Matt de la Peña. Pictures by Christian Robinson. For Luna and her 2 grandmas, Ronnie and Grace. For Nana. CJ pushed through the church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his back. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How How come we gotta wait for the bus in all this wet? Trees get thirsty too, his Nana told him. Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw? CJ looked for a long time, but he never saw a straw. From the bus stop, he watched water pool on flower petals, watched rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby climbed in, gave CJ a wave, and drove off with his dad. Nana, how come we don't got a car? Boy, what do you need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire, and old Mr. Dennis who always has a trick for you. The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. What's that I see? Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear, placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat right up front, the man across the way tuning a guitar. An old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon. She made sure CJ did the same. The bus lurched forward and stopped, lurched forward and stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. How come we always gotta go here after church? CJ said. Miguel and Colby never have to go nowhere. I feel sorry for those boys, she told him. They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo or the Sunglass Man. And I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat. CJ stared out the window, feeling sorry for himself. He watched cars zip by on either side, watched a group of boys hop curbs or bikes. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. How come that man can't see? Boy, what do you know about seeing? Nana told him. Some people watch the world with their ears. That's a fact. Their noses, too, the man said, sniffing at the air. That's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am. Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved on by and stood in back. Sure wish I had one of those, he said. Nana set down her knitting. What for? You got the real life thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask that man if he'll play us a song? CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. To feel the magic of music, the blind man whispered, I like to close my eyes. Nana closed her eyes too. So did CJ and the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound, and the sound gave him the feeling of magic. The song ended, and CJ opened his eyes. Everyone on the bus clapped, even the boy in the back. Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm. CJ dropped it in the man's hat. Last stop on Market Street, Mr. Dennis called. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks and broken down doors, graffiti-tagged windows and boarded-up stores. He reached for his Nana's hand. How come it's always so dirty over here? She smiled and pointed to the sky. Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness for what's beautiful. CJ saw the perfect rainbow arching over their soup kitchen. He wondered how his Nana always found beautiful where he never even thought to look. He looked all around them again, at the bus rounding the corner, out of sight, and the broken street lamps still lit up bright, and the stray cat shadows moving across the way. When he spotted their familiar faces in the window, he said, "I'm glad we came." He thought his Nana might laugh, her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and told him, "Me too, CJ. Now come on." It's such a touching, beautiful story. All right, I want you to turn to your learning coach or your sibling, and I want you to share, what lesson do you think CJ learned in this story? When you're finished sharing, you can press play and we'll continue the lesson. So you can pause this video, share with them, what lesson do you think CJ learned? And sometimes a good way to tell what the lesson is of a story is what we learn ourselves from the story. So just from reading this story again, what did you learn? Okay, what lesson do you think you learned of how to be a better person from reading this story? All right, guys, after you're done sharing, you can pause this video again to take a brain break, get some water, use the restroom, stretch those legs, you deserve it, and then you can come back to your seats. Assuming you've pressed play so that we can go over what you talked about with your learning coach or sibling, let's take a closer look at Last Stop on Market Street and explore the story's theme. Remember, the theme is the message that the author wants readers to learn. It's usually a lesson that we can apply in real life that impacted us or that we learned ourselves. Characters often learn lessons in a story. Looking at what the character learns in the story can help give a hints about the story's theme. So let's think a little bit more about CJ in Last Stop on Market Street. How does CJ feel about going to the soup kitchen at the beginning of the story? So I want you to think about it. You can pause this video. When you have your thoughts gathered, press play. All right, so you may have thought the same thing that I did. In the beginning of the story, he says he wishes he didn't have to go to the soup kitchen. So he does not want to go to Last Stop on Market Street, which is the soup kitchen. And on these pages, he tells Nana that Miguel and Colby never have to go anywhere, and he feels sorry for himself. What else do you remember about his feelings before this point of the story? So in the beginning, when he's feeling sorry for himself, he doesn't want to go to the soup kitchen. Before they get on the bus, CJ is complaining, right? He complains about having to wait in the rain and not having a car. And then later when he gets on the bus, he complains about not having headphones, having to sit on the bus with other people. How does Nana respond each time that Colby complains? I want you to think about that. Not Colby, sorry, CJ. How does Nana respond each time CJ complains? Get your thoughts gathered, and then you can pause this video while you're gathering your thoughts. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so maybe you're thinking the same thing I did. Nana finds the positive or what is good in each situation. She never fails to present what is positive about the situation and what good there is or the beauty in each situation. So let's pay attention to parts of the story that show CJ has changed. Okay, so what do you notice about CJ at the end of the story? So throughout the story, CJ continues to complain. However, Nana finds something positive about everything that he's complaining about, something good. So for example, the man that's blind and can't see. She finds something beautiful about that and says he can see with his other senses, right? With his sense of smell or his sense of hearing. And she finds something positive about everything he finds negative, right? So towards the end of the story, what do we notice about CJ at the end of the story? How does he feel about going to the soup kitchen when he sees the people he knows through this window? How does he feel? Pause this video, gather your thoughts. When you're ready, press play. Press play. So we notice that he's glad, right? He says, "I'm so glad we came." Once he sees the people in the window, and after all of that positivity that Nana had been teaching him throughout the beginning and the middle of the story, he is so glad that he came. He remembers them. He's glad that they went to the soup kitchen. And so how did CJ change from the beginning to the end of the story? He goes from being unhappy about the things he doesn't have and then to being glad for what he does have. He also goes from not wanting to go to the soup kitchen to being glad that he's there. This is partly because Nana keeps pointing out all the good things for CJ to appreciate. So, what lesson did CJ learn throughout the story? He learns to appreciate the things around him and look for the positive things in life. So now we are going to check our understanding. You can pause this video, grab something to write on, something to write with. That can be pencil, paper, marker, loose leaf paper, dry erase board, whatever materials you need, and you can press play when you are ready to continue. All right, this is the question. What do you think the theme of the story is? What is it that the author wants readers to know? A, it is good to always bring an umbrella with you. B, it is good to appreciate what we have and look for the positive things in life instead of focusing on the negatives. C, it is good to be polite to people on the bus. All right, so what do you think is the main thing that the author wants you to take from this? All of these could be true that maybe the author wanted us to know about, but what was the main thing he wanted us to know about? What is the theme? What is it that the author wants readers to know? A, it is good to always bring an umbrella with you. B, it is good to appreciate what we have and look for the positive things in life instead of focusing on the negatives. Or C, it is good to be polite to people on the bus. I want you to take your time to answer the question by writing the answer choice on your boards. Learning coaches, once your student writes their answer choice, please take a picture of that, send it to me on Class Dojo, email, or text message, and that will give them credit for watching this recording. So go ahead and take your time now. You can press play when you're ready to continue. All right, the answer is B. It is good to appreciate what we have and look for the positive things in life instead of focusing on the negatives. Maybe next time when you're upset or thinking about something negative, take a moment to look around you and find something positive to focus on instead. Think of all the things that you do have, and it fills your heart with gratitude. I know just from reading this story again, every time I read it every school year, it just touches me and makes me feel so grateful for the things that I have and puts me in such a positive mood. And I hope it does the same for you. Super job, you guys. We have completed today's lesson. Let's review what we learned. We learned that stories have a theme or a lesson that the author wants readers to learn, and looking at how characters change and the lessons that they learn can help readers identify a story's theme. We identified the theme of Last Stop on Market Street, to be focused on the positive things around you instead of the negatives. All right, guys, you did such a great job. You may log off, and I will see you guys later. Bye.